Chapter 2 Nutrition in Animals. You have learnt in Chapter 1 that plants can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, but animals cannot. Animals get their food from plants, either directly by eating plants or indirectly by eating animals that eat plants. Some animals eat both plants and animals. Recall that all organisms, including humans, require food for growth, repair, and functioning of the body. Animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization in the body. You have studied in class 6 that food consists of many components. The components of food, such as carbohydrates, are complex substances. These complex substances cannot be utilized as such, so they are broken down into simpler substances. The breakdown of complex components food into simpler substances is called digestion. Different ways of taking food. The mode of taking food into the body varies in different organisms. Bees and hummingbirds suck the nectar of plants. Infants of human and many other animals feed on mother's milk. Snakes like pythons swallow the animals they prey upon. Some aquatic animals filter tiny food particles floating nearby and feed upon them. Digestion in humans. We take in food through the mouth, digestion, and utilize it. The unused parts of the food are defecated. Have you ever wondered that what happens to the food inside the body? The food passes through and continues canal which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. The canal can be divided into various compartments. The buccal cavity. First. Second, the food pipe or esophagus. Third, stomach. Fourth, small intestine. Fifth, large intestine, ending in the rectum. And sixth, the anus. It is not a very long path. These parts together form the alimentary canal, digestive tract. The food components gradually get digested as food travels through the various compartments. The inner walls of stomach and the small intestine and the various glands associated with the canal, such as salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas, secrete digestive juices. The digestive juices convert complex substances of food into simpler ones. The digestive tract and the associated glands together constitute the digestive system. Now let us know what happens to the food in the different parts of the digestive tract. The mouth and the buccal cavity. Food is taken into the body through the mouth. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. We chew the food with the teeth and break it down mechanically into small pieces. Each tooth is rooted in the separate socket in the gums. Our teeth vary in appearance and perform different functions. Accordingly, they are given different names. Wash your hands, look into your mirror and count your teeth. Use your index finger to feel the teeth. How many kinds of teeth could you find? Take a piece of an apple or bread and eat it. Which teeth you use for biting and cutting? Which ones of piercing and tearing? Also find out the ones are used for chewing and grinding. Our mouth has the salivary glands which secrete saliva. Do you know the action of saliva on food? Let us find out. Take two test tubes, label them A and B. In test tube A, put 1 teaspoon of boiled rice. In the test tube B, keep 1 teaspoon of boiled rice after chewing it for 3 to 5 times. Add 3 to 4 ml of water in both the test tubes. Now pour 2 to 3 drops of iodine dilute in each test tube and observe. Why is there change in color in the test tubes? Discuss the results with your classmate and your teacher. The saliva breaks down the starch into sugar. The sugar is fleshly muscular organ attached at the back to the floor of the buccal cavity. It is free at the front and can be moved in all directions. Do you know the functions of the tongue? We use our tongue for talking. Besides, it mixes saliva with the food during chewing and helps in swallowing food. We also taste food with our tongue. It has taste buds that detect different tastes of food. We can find out the position of taste buds by the following activity. Sweets and the tooth decay. Normally, bacteria are present in our mouth, but they are not harmful to us. However, if we do not clean our teeth and mouth after eating, many harmful bacteria also begin to live and grow in it. These bacteria break down the sugar present from the leftover food and is released acids. See chapter 5 to know what an acid is. The acids gradually damage the teeth. This is called tooth decay. If it is not treated in time, it causes severe toothache and in extreme cases results in tooth loss. Chocolate, sweets, soft drinks and other sugar products are major culprits of tooth decay. Therefore, one should clean the teeth with a brush or Daton and dental floss. The special strong thread which is moved between two teeth to take out trapped food particles at least twice a day and rise in the mouth after every meal. Also, one should not put dirty fingers or any unwashed object into the mouth. The food pipe, which is called as esophagus. The swallowed food passes into the food pipe or esophagus. The food pipe runs along the neck and the chest. Food is pushed down by the movement of the wall of the food pipe. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards. At times, the food is not accepted by our stomach and it is vomited out. Recall the instances when you vomited after eating and think of the reason for it. Discuss with your parents and teacher. The stomach. The stomach is a thick-walled bag. Its shape is like a flattened J and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It receives food from the food pipe at one end and opens into the small intestine at the other. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid and the digestive juices. The mucus protects the lining of the stomach. The acid kills many bacteria enter along with the food and makes the medium in the stomach acidic and helps the digestive juices to act. The digestive juices break down the proteins into the simpler substances. The small intestine. The small intestine is highly coiled and it is about 7.5 meters long. It receives secretion from the liver and the pancreas. Beside its wall also secretes juices. The liver is a reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice that it is stored in a sac called a gallbladder. The bile plays an important role in the digestion of fats. The pancreas is a large cream-colored gland located just below the stomach. The pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates, fats and proteins and changes them into simpler forms. The partly digested food now reaches the lower part of the small intestine where the intestinal juices completes the digestion of all components of the food. The carbohydrates get broken into simpler sugars as glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. Absorption in the small intestine. The digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. This process is called absorption. The inner walls of the small intestine have thousands of finger-like outgrowths. These are called as villi. Singular villus. Can you guess what the role of villi could be in the intestine? The villi increases the surface area of absorption of the digested food. Each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels close into its surface. The surface of the villi absorbs the digested food materials. The absorbed substances are transported via the blood vessels to different organs of the body, where they are used to build complex substances such as protein required by the body. This is called assimilation. In the cells, glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters into the large intestine. Large intestine. The large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Its functions is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal matter is removed through the anus from time to time. This is called digestion. Digestion in grass-eating animals. Have you observed cow, buffaloes and other grass-eating animals chewing continuously even when they are not eating? Actually, they are quick to swallow the grass and store it in the part of the stomach called rumen. Here the food gets partially digested. It is called cud. But later the cud returns to the mouth in small lumps and the animal chews it. This process is called rumination, and these animals are ruminants. The grass is rich in cellulose, a type of carbohydrates in ruminants like cattle, deer, etc. Bacteria present in rumen helps in digestion of cellulose. Many animals, including humans, cannot digest cellulose. Animals like horses, rabbit, etc. have a large sac-like structure called caecum between the esophagus and the small intestine. The cellulose of the food is digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. So far you have learnt about animals which possesses the digestive system. But there are many small organisms which do not have a mouth and a digestive system. Then how do they acquire the digested food? In the section below you will learn another interesting way of food intake. Feeding and digestion in amoeba. Amoeba is a microscopic single-celled organism found in pond water. Amoeba has a cell membrane and a rounded dense nucleus and many small bubble-like vacuoles. In its cytoplasm, amoeba constantly changes its shape and position. It puts out one or more finger-like projections called pseudopodia or false feet for movement and capture of food. Amoeba feeds on some microscopic organisms. When it senses food, it pushes out pseudopodia around the food particles and engulfs it. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole. They act on the food and break down it down into simpler substances. Gradually, the digested food is absorbed. The absorbed substances are used for growth, maintenance, and multiplication. The undigested residue in the food is expelled outside by the vacuole. The basic process of digestion of food and release of energy is the same in all animals. In a later chapter, you will learn about the transport of food absorbed by the intestine to the various parts of the body. Thank you.